All right, we got some new things to try out for our Flashforge Dreamer NX printer. In this case, it's a 0.2 millimeter nozzle. So we have been using these 0.4 millimeter nozzles. This doesn't have any markings on it, but this brass one does, I think. Yeah. I've been switching between. I started out with the brass one that came with it, and then switched to the micro Swiss because I thought hold up better. Not sure that's completely true. Since I'm printing so much, I'm not printing with abrasive filaments, so I don't really need the abrasiveness. But I just thought micro Swiss might be machined better because it costs more. I think this is about 5 times more than this one. You can buy 5 of these for one of these. And since I'm changing my heat break tube every 2 months or so, just to keep things going without having extrusion problems, I thought it'd be cheaper to buy these. And as long as I'm doing that, I may as well change the nozzle out because the nozzle, seems to have some problems too. Although I'm not completely convinced of that, but I have been doing it so far. So I bought some cheaper ones. So if I'm going to change every 2 months, I'd rather buy cheaper ones. In this case, with the 0.2 nozzle, I've never tried that before. 0.4 is the standard nozzle that comes with most 3D printers. So I figured because this is so small, I figured extra tolerances for machining were going to be more important, so I went with the micro Swiss. So it's so small you can't really even see the opening. Let's open this up though. So there's the nozzle. You can't really see the opening. It's so teeny. I need to get some really fine lettering, so that's why I went with a smaller nozzle. Better keep this separate. I don't want to get them mixed up. I also, part of my cleaning procedure involves using a needle. Once I purge the filament out with the push rod, I finish up with a needle going through the nozzle to get the last bit out. So I needed to get some 0.2 millimeter nozzles, so this is the best kit I could find. It has a combination of a whole bunch of stuff I don't really need, but it's got a brush. Not sure what I'd use that for. It's got a bunch of tie wraps. Not sure what I need those for either. It's got some nice tweezers. Those could be okay. I've got my long handle tweezers, so I don't really need that either. Much more tie wrap. I can always use these or zip ties. I think we call them zip ties. Here's another tweezers. Looks like a smaller one. Don't need that either. But this is what I really wanted, was these needles. So there's a bunch of 0.6 millimeter needles. I think it's 0.6, 0.4, and 0.2. So the way these needles work, you really can't. I don't tell you which one is which. Oh, the 0.2s are a lot shorter. So the long ones are probably 0.6, and the medium ones are 0.4, and the short ones are 0.2. You can't really just shove it in here and get it into the thing. You have to have the heat break tube in there. So I'm not gonna. I'll use these when I'm cleaning this one. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to remove the nozzle that's already on there, the 0.4. I'm going to try to leave the heat break tube in place. That may or may not work, because you don't want any gaps between the heat break tube and the nozzle. But I replaced the heat break tube only about a week ago, so I don't really want to replace it again right now. Or actually, that really doesn't make a lot of sense. If I want this to be successful, I better replace it. So I'm going to replace it. In the future, I'm going to have to switch between these two nozzle sizes because I only have one project that needs this smaller 0.2 nozzle. So I'll be switching back and forth in the future, and hopefully I won't be changing the heat break tube every time. So let's go ahead and get this in the printer using our standard procedure, which I should have published another video about that before this one comes out. And then we'll try it out and see how it works. Okay, a little update. We removed the old nozzle, and we're just letting the extruder cool down. So we're not heating the platform. That just wastes energy. It's not very important doing it. So to do that, we've got the lanyards back on a metal tray. That's key. And there's the motor already. And we removed the silicone sock. I'm completely sold on these silicone socks because they insulate the whole extruder a lot better than that thin Kapton tape and the little thin insulation. So I'm running my filament temperature is probably a little hotter than most people do. I usually run 225 for PLA. I get better layer adhesion and flowing. And without the silicone sock on there, it just remelts. It can remelt the previous layer because there's a lot of heat coming out of this extruder. So I've had a couple prints where the silicone sock got knocked off because something messed up, and then the rest of the print is ruined because it's too hot. So I like silicone socks. Keeps the printhead a lot cleaner, and it lets you run a little bit hotter extrusion temperature. So nice extra fan blowing on it. That cools it off faster. You let it get down to 50 degrees C, I've noticed. It's about what's safe to start handling things. So let this cool down, then we're going to put the new nozzle on there with the new heat break tube. Here's the new one I got. I could have probably reused the old one. There was a little bit of filament left in it. When I take it out, I haven't found a good way to take it out without squishing the end of it. You see there's still some filament in there. So like I say, I might have been able to reuse this one, but I decided with this new small nozzle, I wanted to have as few variables as possible. So a brand new heat break tube is going to eliminate one problem. So in the future, we'll try to do that to save on this Teflon tubing. Hopefully, I can do a run of the new product and do a whole bunch of them, one after the other, and then switch back to my standard nozzle. I don't really want to buy a second printer if I can avoid it, but if I sell enough of these, I may have to get a second printer and have one on 0.2 all the time and one on 0.4. There are some more expensive printers that let you swap out the nozzles just with you just unplug one and plug the other one in. It includes the heat break tube and everything, I guess. I'm not sure how it works exactly. But I really like this printer. I want to stick with this for now. So, all right, so it's almost down to 50 degrees. Then we'll go ahead and put the new nozzle on and try it out. All right, it's down to 50. It's down to 44 degrees. So that's my experience. That's cold enough. So we're going to take our new nozzle. I didn't look that close to the other one, but this one does have a 0.2 on it, so I'm assuming the other Micro Swiss has a 0.2 on it. So we insert the tube into the nozzle. We want it to be flush down to the bottom. We don't want any gaps between the end of the tube and the nozzle. That's prescription for disaster. Then we plug it in here. There's a little bit of resistance, which makes it easier to keep the tube flush with the bottom. And then we hand tighten it with our fingers. I've found it's too hard to hand tighten or get this, tight, except for the last tightening part with when it's hot. So I have to let this cool down. I tried it when it was hot once. I just I couldn't get it. It was too tricky to get it in tight. So tighten it with your fingers, and then you need to reheat this now, so that it gets up to 240, and that way you can do the final tightening. So we'll go ahead and reheat it, and then we'll tighten it with our socket wrench and crescent wrench so it doesn't move. And we'll be ready to test it after we put the silicone sock back on and the air plenum. So while we're waiting for that, I'll put a link to that kit with the needles in it in the show notes. So this, I looked it up. This has 3 types of needles. It has 0.4, which I can use those. 0.3, which I don't think I'm ever going to buy a 0.3 nozzle. I either want to do, print faster with 0.4. The stuff I'm printing now, 0.4 is great for everything except for this one new project I'm working on where I have very small lettering, so I need to use the 0.2. So I don't think 0.3 is going to help me that much. Either I want the finest detail on lettering, or I want to print as fast as possible with that because I don't have as much detail. So I'll probably just put the 0.3s aside. I'll add the 0.4s to my other set of 10 that I got with this kit. This is a kit I bought earlier, Reptor. I'll put the 0.4s in with that, so I'll have some extra 0.4 because I did break a few of them, but now that I have my procedure down, I'm not really breaking. They get bent a little bit, but not really breaking these. I'm just, and they're stainless steel. I'm pretty sure they're acupuncture needles, so they're pretty high quality, I think. That's my guess anyway. I never had acupuncture, so I can't be sure. In any case, I'll save the 0.2s in here and put the 0.3s aside. 0.2s are really short. That's going to be a little tricky to put in through the top of the print head to get it out, but I should be able to get it in there. So I think this is using needles is an important part of finishing up your cleaning, because just make sure the nozzle itself is clear, and a lot of times some filament will stick to the needle when you pull it back out, so you can scrape that off. All right, so put these aside for now. We don't need them until we clean stuff. All right, we're almost up to 240. The other thing I do whenever I'm working around the printer is to have a fan on. You can kind of see the fan going over here. Let's see, where is it? Over here. Just to keep the air circulating. You know, you don't really want to breathe any more of this plastic stuff than you need to. So, all right. So we carefully. This is hot now, so you got to be careful. We put our crescent wrench on the print head so it doesn't rotate. We don't want it rotating. We want it to stay steady. Tighten it up. And we switch our socket to tightening. Okay, so that's on there. Now we're going to tighten this up. It should just take maybe 1/8 of a turn to finish tightening it. It's going to take more than that. About a 1/4 turn. Alright, so it's nice and solid now. Now, let me turn this off before I start talking. So, it's also too dangerous to put the silicone sock back on when this is hot. I tried it once again, and just doesn't go. You want this on solid, because I say if it comes off, it's a disaster. So I wait till it cools down again. I just put the fan on it again, and it won't take long to cool it down. The thing that takes the longest amount of time is to heat up the print bed. The extruder heats up and cools down pretty rapidly because the thermal mass is a lot lower. All right, so we'll just cool this down. I won't bother to show this part because I've shown it before. Put the silicone sock back on, put the air plenum back on, and we'll try it out. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Post a comment if you have any questions or ideas, and I'll try to respond. That's all for now, but more videos are coming, and if you want to see them, please subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification icon if you don't want to miss one. This is Beta Cygni signing out, and keep looking up.